but I definitely appreciate everybody being here and your support. I don't have any donations to read, but I do want to remind some people of some incentives going on. For our next game after Frogger, we do have Super Smash Brothers Brawl, not Ultimate. Sorry, we did not have enough time to learn it in 3 hours. We have an incentive for the in-game tag. Right now, Conk is in the lead at $15, and PUWP, short for Power Up with Pride, is at $10. So if you would like to see PUWP as the in-game tag for that, you might want to go ahead and get your donations in. After that, a couple runs later, we have an incentive for We Love Katamari. You're going to be picking the song for the longest level near the end of the game. We have quite a few options. If you're interested in seeing any of those, you can do !incentives in the chat and it will give you the link to that. And if you want to donate to any of them, you can hit !donate in the chat also. I want to remind everybody that we are raising money for the Trevor Project, and the Trevor Project is the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at www.thetrevorproject.org so you can access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate. If you didn't know, we're actually going on through the 6th through the 9th. We're for 24 hours each day. We're estimated right now to end at about 10 p.m. on Sunday night with Phantom Hourglass by Mr. Shasta. So if you want to check out anything that is going on during the entire marathon, you can use !schedule to see any of the cool runs going on. Right now, we're setting up WinnerBit to do Frogger's Adventures, Temple of the Frog. After that will be Super Smash Brothers Brawl by SWC19. A little bit after that will be Enter the Matrix by Big Law. He's doing 80% Niobe. I'm really hyped for that. After that is D-Blob by Sock Puppet Kingdom, 80%. And then we're going to hit that We Love Katamari at 9:20 right now on the East Coast. It's going to be by Garby the Glitcherist. How's everyone doing? I think this is the first time I've been in here by myself, being able to talk to everybody. They're going to keep you company while we're waiting. If you want to give me something to do, you could totally donate, and I'll read your donation on stream.
That's true. That's true. You could do that. I think we might be actually just about ready for the next run. So I think we'll get things situated and be on in just a couple minutes here. Sweet. Alrighty, y'all. We're ready, and we're back with yet another run from WinnerBit.
It seems like I was just here.
Yeah, it really does. How about you tell us about Frogger's Adventures?
Well, this is a launch title for the Game Boy Advance, and it was actually the 13th best-selling Game Boy Advance game in the US. It's kind of the first of a bit of a reimagining of the Frogger series. For those who don't know, yes, there was a Frogger series, but it kind of died out about 11 years ago at this point, unfortunately.
Cool.
It's really interesting to look back on their attempts to make somewhat of a franchise out of this frog IP.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're ready to go. So, whenever you are starting, you just count me down, and I'll start the timer for you.
Okie doke. Sounds great. And one more thing, I love to see when people come in and see this game and they think, wait a second, I remember this game. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Because it's like people forget about this game until they see it again. So, without further ado, in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. First thing we want to do is skip some dialogue with A and then B. So the goal of this game is to collect 3 and then 5 elements in each set of 2 levels, scattered throughout 5 worlds. And the reason we're collecting elements is because the, quote, treacherous Mr. D is threatening to destroy Firefly Swamp and subsequently the world with the removal of these elements. So we have to retrieve them. They've been scattered throughout all 5 of these worlds, and at the very end we're actually going to not only see who Mr. D is, by the way, those who don't know, then make sure you don't get spoiled. Those who know, don't spoil. It's good. And we actually have to use the power of the elements against him. So it's really kind of a poetic tale. There's a moral in there somewhere, I think, but it's buried pretty deep. Long story short, it's kind of a nice fusion of arcade and adventure. This second level is the hardest in the speedrun, in my opinion. So it's nice that it's right here at the start. Mix resetting pretty easy. Right here I'm gonna go ahead and start collecting some coins for purchasing access to the final 2 levels of the game. Yes, that is a thing. There is in-game DLC in this universe. Right here we're gonna actually choose death by slicing to death warp here, instead of death by falling, because it is way faster. The animation plays out much more quickly. Right here we're gonna set up a bit of the screen timer manipulation by going in a very strange way through those platforms. That sets up this Firefly to be just off-cycle enough for me to be able to do this, and that. So very technical stage. I'm glad I went through it without any hiccups, because it's pretty easy to mess up. Alright, so here's our first boss, King Izhnek. He actually has voice acting in this game's companion game for the GameCube called Frogger the Great Quest. And it's pretty bad. Also, his wife canonically calls him King Idjit. Alright, so he is dead. Long live the king. Now we have to traverse some ancient ruins. Right here we're going to super hop to once again set up a screen timer in the form of these snakes, which is one of their very few enemies you can actually hop over in this game. Okay, so right now we're collecting the earth element. We just got finished collecting all the fire elements. And then we're going to go to Sea Town after this and collect the water element, and then Sky City to collect the wind element. And the final element is the temple element, I guess. It's never really explained, but it's just kind of a green frog-like element that apparently is one of the 5 that is required for the world to survive. So you heard it here first, folks. Frogs are pivotal in the survival of this planet. Get out there, save the frogs.
I'm willing to support that message.
Heck yeah. So this is the fastest level that is not a boss fight. For most of this area, you're going to be chased by a giant waterfall cascade of sorts. We won't ever see it though, because it goes right by. Oh, we'll see it on the right here, but only briefly. There you go, skip a little cycle right there, and go around this snake, because I was actually a little bit farther ahead of my usual cycle there. So as of this point, I'm going to make sure I have enough coins to last me through the next level, which is Rattlesnake. I want to have 50 coins by the end of this boss fight. While we're waiting for these boulders to fall, I'll go ahead and explain the game's mechanics a little bit. There we go. Okay, never mind that. Really quickly, I have to explain the switch glitch, which happens when you are standing 3 or fewer tiles away from the switch when it spawns. And it'll cause the switch flipping over animation to replay and keep the switch on screen. Unfortunately, it's only a graphical glitch. It doesn't actually have any function. It'd be great if you could just hit the button 3 times right then and there and be done with the fight, but unfortunately the game prevents that. So as I was saying, this game allows you to buffer one move into any other move. So each hop is 10 frames. As soon as you've begun your hop, you can press another button and have that move execute immediately afterward. The only time that's not the case is in a situation where you have just finished a super hop, which is the A button, one of these, which is 60 frames, and you have to wait until the animation is played completely for another move to be started. So that's the only major risk going fast in this game, is accidentally pressing a button too early and getting your input eaten. You have some very tight cycles in especially the next level. A lot of times if you mess up the cycles in individual levels, the entire rest of the level will be affected. So you have to be very good at improvisation if you happen to mess up. Also, crab train hype. I hop back on the crab train a little bit to reset the screen cycles of these eels so they don't hit me, just like that. Gonna death warp back here because it's faster than going around again. Also, you can't use your tongue, which is the B button, in this particular level because you have on a helmet. Alright, I'm going to focus just a little bit here. And nice coin count.
Nice. Hey, I wanted you to know that I've got $10 here from LPG, who says, "Good luck to my good friend WinnerBit, and you're in for a treat for this Frogger run."
Yo, LPG, thank you very much. So here's the cephalopod in his natural environment.
I've heard things about cephalopods tonight.
Indeed. Alright, and welcome to the boss fight that is totally 100% RNG. Kappa. It's dependent on which teleporter you enter and when. You just have to pretty much match each side with the corresponding button on the other side. Unlock the airship and get out of there. I used to think it was RNG and it would take me like 2 minutes per run through, but then I realized, wait a second, these are consistent. So now it takes like barely any time at all. Welcome to generic Arabian land, aka Sky City. Some pretty neat skips in this level, and in the next one as well. Somehow I have 3 seconds to save, like out of nowhere, over my PB in this stage, and I don't even know how I lost that time. But that's like the only major time save I have left to be able to save in my speedruns of this game. This was my original speed game. This is the first game I ever played fast. And also the first game I ever played, period. This game is what got me into video games in the first place. Before this game, I'd never touched a controller, never seen a video game, pretty much. Well, I've heard of video games, but never actually played one. But back in 2005, I actually got my first Game Boy Advance. one of those indigo originals that ran off of AA batteries and had no light on it. I'm 90% sure the only reason I had one of the Game Boy Advances at that point was because the DS had been out for a year at that point, and it was the only thing on sale, like for a sale price. So I ended up with a lot of the more obscure games on the then outdated console. So I partially blame that for my eclectic nature when it comes to games I enjoy playing and or running. Gonna do a couple more death warps here. That's a pretty tight skip. There are a lot of tight cycles in this game that you wouldn't expect to be that tight. The hitboxes are far from consistent. Grab a checkpoint there for safety. Fun fact, doing 2 extra hops in this game costs you 1/3 of a second, which at the level I run this game is actually pretty significant, so you have to make sure you don't do any errant harps. Any errant hops. However, sometimes if you're a coin short, you will have to go one pile out of your way to collect the extra one in that treasure room. We want 112 coins right here, because we can collect the last 13 that we need in the next level. And now I'm gonna need your bless RNGs in chat for this level, which is the boss fight against the Sultan of Sky City, whose name is Miharbi, but I call him the Trollton, because this fight is heavily dependent on RNG. You have to collect as many blue gems as possible, looking mostly for clusters and strings, where you can, like this one right here. That's pretty good. And you have to make sure that you don't collect any orange gems, which will take away a gem for some reason. And you have to make sure that he doesn't touch you and stun you. Phase 3 is the one we have to really worry about because he moves faster than I do. The only thing that slows him down is if he decides to try to attack me directly, or if he just wanders around away from the gems. Yeah, this is really tight. And we got it. Unfortunately, I had to end the round pretty far away from the door, so that pretty much killed PB pace, not even kidding. Optimally, I would place myself in front of the door.
But you did get it.
I did get it, yes. That was not a very good series of RNG that just happened there. Anyway, this is Temple of
yes.
Frog, the titular temple. That ghost skip is very tight. There are actually a lot of very tight cycles in this particular area. We are approaching the second instance of nice coin count. And there it is. So at this point, all we have left, we have all the elements, but now we just have to navigate the temple on our way to the spot where Mr. D is camping out. I kind of view these as the Wily stages of the game because it forces you to use all the skills you've learned so far. You might also notice that I am down 50 coins. That's because I had to pay 50 coins to get into the temple. Now that I have 75, I can enter the second level. Whereupon I shall begin the series of frame-perfect tricks that we have to do this optimally. I was 1 frame early there, and I was 1 frame late right there. So the thing that sucks about that is that not only the initial trick, but also the backup trick is frame-perfect. And I was just a little bit slow on the second frame-perfect trick there, which is fine. Getting that second frame-perfect trick is mostly for show. I always go for it in marathons because why not? Nice little puzzle right there. So yeah, those who are wondering, sub 19 is a knockout time for this game. Only one other person has sub 19. Current record slash PB for me is 1827. So it's fair to say I put in my piece of work on this game. But, you know, granted, a little over a year of grinding almost exclusively this game will do that. At the same time, though, I would recommend it as someone's first speed game because you can kind of take it at your own pace. So here he is. Here's Mr. D himself. I just sacrificed a life to kind of try to show him off there. I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's alright. This wasn't going to PB anyway, so I don't hold out too much hope for that. Now we pretty much have to survive.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
this is about 20 or 25% of the run is just waiting for this this series of cycles. You have to wait for all of the fire, water, or whatever it is on the stage to clear out before you start collecting the elements. And for whatever reason, that will deal damage, perhaps, to Mr. D. Let's go with that. It sounds good to me. So here's the thing, especially this first phase, the fire phase, it's heavily RNG dependent because it's completely up to randomness. How many fireballs spawn, when they spawn, where they spawn, and how fast they go. So if you get that RNG, it's very easy to lose time strictly to the fact that you didn't get a good fire spawn. And really, this is the only phase set in stone here. This earth phase. Also, check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and run over my own tiles really quick. Because as long as you have a move buffered, I actually did not buffer that one right there, so shame on me. There we go. But as long as you have a move buffered, you can actually run over your own tiles as they're flipping over. Okay, I should stop messing around, because this is really not good to only be down to one life. But it's a cool little trick, I suppose you could call it. So in an emergency, you could get yourself out of a bind that way. So we just have to wait for the last element, and here we go. Now this phase is what used to always kill me as a kid, because I had an unlighted original Game Boy Advance, and not only that, I dropped it at some point and the contrast went all weird, so I couldn't really see any light-colored objects, which is obviously these icicles, which for some reason count as the water phase. Oh, right. So I'm gonna go for just 3 of those elements. After 20 seconds, they'll stop spawning. But since I'm at 0 lives, I'm just gonna be very, very careful here. At this point, I'm legit hoping not to lose my last life, because using a continue puts you all the way at the beginning of the entire fight, starting from the fire phase again. So it'd be pretty cool not to die. So here we go. This one I'm actually going to be quiet for because it's very, very easy to get burnt here.
I believe.
I'm going to take a different route through these as well, to put ourselves in a better place to go into the exit door. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I believe in you.
Oh. Well, thank you very much.
Do it.
I believe in the me, but believes in myself as well.
Yes, exactly.
I am self-inspired. But yeah, it's really an honor to run this game in marathons, and particularly in the quantity that I've run this game in. I think I've had this game in maybe 8 marathons at this point. Okay, we survived. Nice.
Nice.
Alright, phase 2. All of the kill tiles are preset, but which kill tiles you have to walk onto are actually random. So you have to kind of react to which direction you need to go, but the ones you actually do are all preset, just like this. And get ready on time. Time.
Alright.
We murdered
There we
death.
go. Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. If we have about a minute here, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess since I don't have a webcam, you're just gonna have to trust me that I'm covering my eyes. But I'm gonna go ahead and read through the epilogue really quickly because this game was very near and dear to me throughout childhood, and I've memorized every single word of it. So Lumpy the
Absolutely,
Toad says, Frogger, you've done it. You've saved Firefly Swamp for all of us. And then Zippy the Turtle says, thanks to you, Firefly Swamp is free. Our Sacred Temple of the Frog, is free of the evil Mr. D. I don't usually say their names alongside them, so that's kind of throwing me off a bit here. Senior Chief the Pelican says, all's clear under the sea, Frogger. I salute you. And Frogger says, guys, it was no problem. That Mr. D and his pals are a real pain, but they should not be messing with our swamp. It's really cool being outside the swamp, too. I met this real fairy. And then Lily the Fairy Girl says, hi, Frogger. I knew that you could save the swamp because you have always been so very brave. And remember, no one but you is able to see me. And then Lumpy says, what's that, Frogger? What did you say, Frogger? A real fairy? And Frogger says, no, I said being outside the swamp can be cool, but I'm really very happy to go home now. See you back at the swamp. I feel like that was probably 98% accurate.
Yeah, it seemed like it to me.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Get out of my swamp. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of as well.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of works. You do play as a green protagonist. And
Yeah,
you do
that's
evict
true.
someone from your home quarters.
That's true.
Just in a lot more
Yeah.
elaborate fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we're gonna call it there and go to intermission. And next up, we're gonna have some Super Smash Brothers action in honor of the new
Smash Ultimate,
release. And also, thank you so much, WinnerBit, for both of your runs. This was really nice and chill and nice to hang out with you. So thanks.
Heck yeah, it's been a pleasure. Shout outs to everyone in the chat, everyone donating. You're all awesome. Thanks for putting on the marathon. It's been a lot of fun so far. I can't wait to see how it folds out over the weekend.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks. See you soon.